Once upon a time, this the memory. It's like synergy. Life the hardest teacher y'all could ever get the master. Get a test first, then y'all get that lesson after. Steve's never stressing them G's. I like to welcome y'all back to Sync Music Mondays. Every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Financial literacy for your music. We are music licensing in the coolest form because we are the coolest. And shout out to all the listeners. We are charting right now, I believe, number 12 in Belize. We're charting in Ghana, Nigeria. So major shout out to all the musicians, everybody that taps in with us every single week. We are truly grateful. We're truly appreciative for your viewership and just tapping in. So, it's always love. Shout out to my man, JS. He couldn't be here. He's traveling. But as always, we start off with the word of the day. So what's today's word of the day? We're going to give it to y'all essentially like this in a nutshell. And, I like this gem because it's very personal and it's true. Past trauma is not your fault, but healing is your responsibility. I'll say that again. Past trauma is not your fault, but healing is your responsibility. I think a lot of times in life, people go through different obstacles, different challenges, and they can be very traumatic, different things, whether it's losses, death of a loved one, maybe things that happened to you in the past that ideally you would have elected not to experience. But no matter what happens to you, you can't be a slave to your past. We can't control sometimes what things do happen, but we can control our actions moving forward. We can control the daily things that we do to try to get to our goals and to try to heal. So never let trauma cripple you, never let losses cripple you, but always understand, you can take control of your healing and always elevate to the next level. And that is the word of the day. But today, we have a very, very special, dope guest in the building. Man, guy's amazing. He is a super talented, accomplished producer. I can't even go through all the accomplishments, man. We got HBO Max, we got Marvel, we got MTV, NBC, Bravo, VH1, CBS, man. Credits with Timbaland, Twister. It just goes on and on and on, man. His accomplishments got accomplishments. You know what I'm saying? It is no other than the legend, the GOAT, Gilde Flores. What's up, brother?
What is up, man? Good to be here, man. Thank you for your time.
No doubt, man. Thanks for joining us today, brother. We appreciative of you just tapping into Sync Music Mondays. We got thousands of artists that tune in every week and they're just motivated at their craft. So we truly appreciate that, bro.
Man, likewise, dude. Likewise.
Definitely, man. So I kind of gave a brief overview of you, but can you tell the people in your own words who is Gilde Flores?
Yeah, man. I think who he is today is who I wouldn't been able to have answered, when I first got started on this journey. But I think I've become somebody who's been a concrete example of faith, man, of putting faith into action and believing it and really just letting go. We were talking about this right before we came on. I think it's just letting go is the biggest thing that I wish I would have known from the get-go, because it's just there's no one way to get to making it. And then when you make it, you don't actually make nothing. You just get to another level where there's so many other complications and, expectancies that you have to go through. So I think the main thing is this Gilde Flores today is a wise guy because I finally just let go, let God, as they say, and just kind of got comfortable with where I was in life and my skill and balancing life mindset and work, man. So I think that all those accomplishments that I've gotten, could keep going the list, but honestly, that's just a hard example of the byproduct that, comes from what we do, man. So that's who I am.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely, man. That's, and that's dope, man. Like we say a lot of times, just let go and let God. People try to force things, but
Oh, yeah.
a lot of times forcing things kind of just throws us off track or derails us from our purpose and our destiny. So kind of just letting things flow. And, that's a big deal, man. So, kind of to circle back, when you the younger years and things like that for you, did you grow up in a musically inclined household, or what was your first introduction to music? How'd you really get started with that?
Well, it all started with my dad, man. He's a musician. So he's been one of those that have always been, applying, bringing new instruments home and doing that and trying to learning on his own. Then he ended up getting involved in some bands and stuff. We're from Hereford, Texas, so it was a small community, and the musicians and stuff like that. So I think what it is he would always leave his instruments and stuff around, and so when he was gone, because he was a pretty strict dad back then, I
Mm,
would tinker with it, man, and just found this love for music. And then he caught me one time on his keyboard, and he's like, okay, maybe he may be onto something, because I would listen and play, like I would hear jingles and stuff and just play along. So then when he discovered that, he started putting me more in front of things. He'd get me this Casio or this. So I think it progressed where it was always in front of me. And although as I got older, he kind of brought me into his circle and started, because honestly, man, he couldn't find musicians that were dedicated. So he
mm.
was like, well, let me just teach this guy since he's got an interest and he's in the house, and then I don't have to pay him. If you want to be real, that's what it is, man. So it's like, sorry, Dad, if you hear this, my bad. But it's what it is, man. He just encouraged me, and I think at the same time, and I don't want to get too far into it, but what I realize now is that we as in people that have that musical ability or some kind of art, when we grow up in society, we're almost always pulled back to like, stop doing that, stop being a dreamer, turn off, pay attention to this, focus, stay on point. So for me, it's like I got a lot of that through my entire life, like trying to be redirected to follow a path that wasn't mine. So
Mhm.
that alone created a lot of conflict for me as a human being, because it's like, job resumes were horrible, man, and I could never find a place to fit. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that, man. It's like
Mhm.
you're sitting there working on your dream, making a beat, whatever it is, and you got that person like, when are you going to get a job? When are you going to do this? When are you going to make real money? I'm
Mhm.
sure we've all come to that, man. So
Mhm.
where I am today, going back to even that question, it's like, man, I'm just trying to make a way to help people understand that, it's your gift. It was given to you. A lot of people are not going to understand or see that. So you got to focus on what you have. Don't worry about the how, when, why, where, just the why, actually. Worry about the why. And so, with that said, man, music has always been a part of me, but I had to oppress it a lot. I had to always keep pushing it down. And the more I did that, life didn't make sense. So when I
Mhm.
finally started giving into it, embracing it, and letting people understand, look, this is what I'm doing. You're in or out, And the more I was able to do that, I finally found my place, man. And so with that said, yeah, man, music's always been a part of me. It's just kind of been pressed. So when I let it out, it all just worked.
Yeah, no, that's a major key right there, and I think that you dropped a lot of gems, Joe, because I feel like in terms of like what you just said, like a lot of people often like they'll have to suppress their dreams, they'll have to suppress like their ambition. And I call it the Superman versus Clark Kent syndrome, right? Like we all know, Clark Kent was the day guy, that
Yeah.
was the guy, was he handled the day to day. Superman was his alter ego, with his power line. And a lot of musicians, that metaphor rings true. It's like, they have that day persona that they have to be for society purposes, whether they're trying to work a 9 to 5 to fund their dream. They're funding their Superman,
Oh, yeah.
and a lot of times, like you said, people don't see that vision. So they often criticize it or critique, oh, when you gonna make real money?
Oh,
Oh,
man.
oh, you still, or the people with the side comments, oh, you still doing that? How's that working out for you?
Oh,
Like the little subtle, innuendos that kind of like try to just diminish you on the low. But like you say, there's a saying, I love persistence wears down resistance.
man.
So in all things, like stay true to who you are and your craft, and eventually like those doors will begin to open up an opportunity to the point where you'll be able to elevate to the next level.
Yeah, man. And I think on that note, man, because I've noticed I've been watching a lot of your material, and you have a real good strong set of mindset. And that right there alone is like the key to everything we do as far as unlocking the ease and really, really pushing our abilities to the next level. That mindset, if we get that down at the get-go, I think that's what I lacked, man. And if I would have had that from the get-go, it wouldn't have been much of a, it would have still been bumpy, but I would have had more control to maintain myself, as a human, as a what a family member, as a friend, and more importantly, practicing the gift that I was given. So it's like, I think that's something that, and I'm glad you do, man, push that mindset to, your followers and your people, because it's something that, man, I've lost friends, and I'll be real, to, taking their own lives because they were pressed up against a corner. And you realize that, and thank God, man, like I've had a crazy life, man. I've been homeless. I've had all the, the bad, all that stuff, man. And it's like I was mom that was addiction. She had to suffer from addiction. So it pushed me to be a counselor. Like I went to school, ended up trying to be a counselor to save her and realized you can't save nobody but yourself. And when I did that, that like unlocked like the whole 5 years of like that whole psychology and the counseling career. And long story short, I ended up doing music. So I have a degree, a diploma, but it's literally, I don't even practice that. So I thought, but then I realized the more I went and started being successful at whatever I defined as a success was because of my mindset. Like everything. Like I look back at who I was, man, even 13 years ago. And I'm like, man, how did I live? Like, it was so much uncomfort that I pushed through. And I realized my brain was always on survival mode. That's why I was able to survive, and that's one thing. And if we can unlock that off the beginning from people like, our people that are creatives and struggling or whatever they're doing, if we can teach them how to have accountability and mindset, I think that's what's going to see a big shift in us creatives, man. So,
Yeah.
bam,
Yeah, I agree.
beautiful.
Yeah, that's a major yeah, that's a major key, man. And yeah, that's powerful because yeah, your mind is like that's the machine right there.
Yeah.
Like I interviewed a friend of mine. His name is David Nurse, and David used to be a coach for the NBA. Now he's a motivational speaker.
Ooh.
And one thing that he said that I realized like every single day that's important. He says, no matter who you are, no matter where you are on the planet, everybody has a superpower, and that's the power of choice. So every single day you get up, you know what I'm saying? And like you got that power of choice. So you can choose to say, all right, you know what? It's going to be a crappy day today. Just have a defeatist mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh, dude, yes, I
like,
do, man. You know what I mean?
you know,
Dude, I've walked through the worst parts of and that's why I say my life, if I would have known what I do now, I didn't realize every day I woke up, I was setting myself up for disaster, man. I was literally speaking to existence everything that was about to happen in my life. Oh, here goes another flat. Ah, the word. How much worse can it get? Oh man, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get pulled over because I'm speeding. Got pulled over. So when I realized that, man, and I started speaking life and speaking a difference, bro, how do you think I got with Marvel? How do you think I worked on the Wolverine? All of that thing I spoke into existence. I scored an entire series on HBO Max because I have a vision board right off to the corner here that I put up in August. I cut the picture out, put HBO on there in my vision board. By July, I got a phone. August. No, I'm sorry. July, I put the vision board. By August, I got a phone call while we were having dinner from I still have it, man. HBO producer looking for me because he just happened to hear somebody drop my name in the hat. Like God, man, of course, but the universe. But it's like because I spoke it in existence, And then so once I realized that hack, man, I've been living like that, dude. Like everything I do in my life is literally I speak what I want. Like I wake up since school till 2015 till now, sorry, 2010 till now, I listen to nothing but self-help. Like audiobooks, I sleep with frequencies. Like every night I push because the minute I even as much practice as I put into self-help and self-care, the minute I let go and like let even a couple of days go by that I'm not doing this, that what they call the monkey brain, the old, the innate part of us kicks in and mine is survival mode. Because as a kid, it was imprinted in me. So I started getting that lack mind like that. So it's something you got to just maintain the rest of your life, but it's doable. And once you're on top of it, it's just a way of life, man. So it's cool. My bad, I pull you way off topic.
Nah.
He's like, man, this guy talks too much.
Nah, you good, Gil. Because I tell you, man, that's what this show is all about. It's like motivating artists, because of course we talk about music, but we incorporate everything because it's important for artists to know the real, because society pushes so much false reality. So it's like, people go on Instagram, there's filters, there's surgeries that people are doing, so everything looks perfect, and I always say, you got to run your own race because everybody's not posting their losses, right? So it can make you feel psychologically like, oh, you're falling behind, you're not winning as much as everybody else. And in reality, everybody suffers some losses. Everybody has some setbacks, but it's how you bounce back, how you recover. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a major key. So I appreciate you being so honest about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and putting the cards out there.
Yeah, that's what I am, dude. And I think that's why a lot of people, and I say dude a lot because I grew up watching Ninja Turtles, so that's their fault. But
Yo, Michelangelo, Leonardo,
as you can see, man,
Donatello, Raphael, yo, we was up, Master Splinter,
dude,
we was all with
man.
that.
See, I have baby Groot back here. It's like, dude, I try to hide him every time I'm talking. He keeps peeking past that shoulder. Like, look, everybody
All
there.
good. It's all good, man.
I'm a kid. It's all good. So anyhow, man, it's like I think it's just grounding yourself, man, and just being who you are. And I've become somebody that's like an advocate of like, man, I need everyone that in my circle to know how valuable you are as a person. You hear that stuff growing up, or you may have caught a glimpse of it, but you really don't understand. It's like it all starts here, man. And as long as you got this, nothing matters elsewhere because it's all gonna gravitate to where you're focused, man. And that's the
Yeah.
thing. It's that simple, but very complex. We make it
Yeah, yeah.
complex.
We do. We do. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? But yeah, that's a major key, man. Yeah, definitely, man. So circling back, Gil, let me ask you this, man. What was the first placement that you ever got that you could think of or you could remember?
2007, MTV, Adventures in Hollywood. It's a 3
Wow.
6 Mafia. Remember that show?
Yeah, yeah, of
I,
course.
I had a friend of mine, man. He was a music. He wasn't a friend at the time, but a friend of mine introduced me to him, which is Bo. His name is Donnie Bo Official. He went by. He passed away not too long ago, recently actually.
Rest in peace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. That guy set my entire career off, man. And he became like almost like a mentor. Like I always, anyway, he was a music supervisor for this show, and he ended up getting some of my beats and put me on, man. And long story short, it started from 2 beats into, geez, man, it went into like I think I did like 200 and something cues for that show. So
Wow.
yeah, it was one of those shows, and after that, it's like I thought, oh man, I got it, I'm in now. But then long story short, or a lot of stuff, the accountability factor is I thought everything was going to hit me in the face after I got my first placement. It was going to just be nonstop, but that didn't happen. Saying I wasn't a go getter at the time, so I literally kicked back from 2007 to 2012 with no placements, nothing. And
Mm,
I honestly went back into the real world, as they say, society, and got me a job at a car part place, thinking I was gonna, how am I gonna do this music thing again? And again, I was too worried about how, and not why. And
mhm.
so from 2007 to 2012, man, I had a big gap of nothing. So after my first placements, nothing else happened after that.
Hmm. Wow. Wow, man. But that's real talk though. Like, the ability to be a go-getter and pursue it. Cause sometimes, yeah, we could get lax and we get so many wins, we just think it's automatically going to keep coming, and it's not the
Oh yeah,
case, you know?
no,
Wow.
not at all,
Yeah.
man. And from experience, the more you get and the bigger ones you get, it doesn't get easier. Nothing comes to you if you don't have somebody pushing for you. You've still got to maintain. I still have to maintain. Like I was literally looking at my schedule last week or this past week, thinking, okay, I need to up the bar and get myself even out there and stuff. Because you get too comfortable, and not that you exhaust what you have, but it becomes like, now I'm a vendor for Universal, so I do a lot for Universal. The rep will hit me, hey man, we need this, we have this show down the pipeline, we need some, start looking for tracks for this. So I get them done so fast, then I'm kind of sitting there like, okay, now what do I do? Because I've
Hmm.
already submitted 40 tracks to this, or I have other people working with me that, so it's like, even though you get a flow going, you almost exhaust what you had going for you, that you got to now create new lines and new areas to reach. So it's a never ending process, man. And I'm sure you
Yeah.
can attest to that.
Oh yeah, of course, man. Of course.
Growth. It's
Yeah,
leverage,
growth.
growth. That's it.
Growth and constant elevation, man.
Oh yeah.
Like it's a process, like, and similar to you, that's crazy. Yeah, when I think about it, because yeah, me and you probably got introduced to sync around the same time, because I got introduced in 2007. So my the agent I had at the time, and she still represents some of my music. She introduced me to it. She was like, hey, we can get your music and TV and film. And I was like, you're right. Because at the time, you think, all right,
Yeah.
where's the money good? Now
Oh
you're gonna
yeah.
ask me for $5,000, like, all right, right. But she was like, no, it's legit or whatever. And true to form, man, like 3 months later, I got like $5,000, at a clip. So I was like, oh, this is like a real thing, like, and then I've been rocking ever since, man, moving and shaking. So yeah, but like you said, you can't get comfortable, you can't get
Oh
complacent.
man.
you know, because it's highly competitive. Everybody's trying to create, everybody's trying to get placement. So you gotta stay at it, you know, and stay at your best, you know.
Yeah, dude, I use comfort as it's like a new radar for me. The minute I start getting comfort, I know I ain't doing nothing. I know
Yeah.
I'm as soon as I feel stagnation, man, that's I kick myself. Okay, what do I gotta do? What do I gotta do? What can I do now? What can I leverage? Because that already being 2007 when I got comfortable, and that whole long gap that I got. And as I progressed, I realized I gotta be on top of this. So the minute I start getting comfortable or feeling I'm all right, all the warning bells go off. Red flags like, bro, get up. You
Yup.
gotta move now.
Yup. It's time to do something.
It's time to do something.
Gotta bust a
That's it,
move.
man.
Gotta
That's it,
bust a
man.
move, man. And you dropped a gem too that I like, Gil. You said that guy was essentially like a mentor to you.
Mhm.
And that's a major key that I tell a lot of artists too, is that don't be afraid to get a mentor. You know, don't be afraid to get a sponsor, because, you know, in life, like I realized, like those situations, a lot of times that were successful for me was because someone in my life was acting as a mentor or a sponsor. You know, they took the time to actually take an interest in what I was doing and wanted to genuinely see me win. And, you know, what happens a lot of times, I think people get so caught up in trying to do everything themselves. So they're like, oh, you know, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. But no man, no woman is an island to themselves. Like, you can't have too much ego to, you know, ask questions, ask for help. You know, it's a constant journey of learning, and you got to be a student to the game, you know?
You know, man, as I was looking here for this quote that I heard, I always forget to bring it up, but you brought it up perfectly, man. There's a quote by Isaac Newton, and it says, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants."
Hmm.
Bro, that hit me deep about like people that have wisdom and people like you're saying mentors, and they've seen it, they've done it, they've grown. We see them as giants in the career, whatever it is. So why not stand on their shoulders? Because then you're going to see past. You're going to see where they're seeing, or probably even more. So that
Hmm.
quote alone, man, changed my whole life about getting help and having
Hmm.
help and being help. Being
Hmm.
more of a voice for people, because yeah, it's like, dude, we're all, you take away our gifts and abilities, and put us into the human aspect, that we're all the same. We're all, no matter what we are, what color, what size, what shape, we are human beings. Like yeah, man. So that's how I see life, dude. That's literally, I don't have time for anything else, man. I don't make time for anything else at the world news, and I don't even watch news. It's like I don't allow myself to, get barred down with lies and all that stuff, man. I'd rather focus on what I can take control of, and that's myself. So yeah, man. And I,
Yeah.
again, all my big old long roll of accomplishments is literally just a byproduct of push and belief and not being stagnant, and putting the blinds on and just focusing forward, man. That's literally what it is.
Yeah.
That's
That's a
simple, man.
major key, man. Major key, man. You know, I wanted to ask you something too.
Yeah.
In terms of like the creative process for you, because when I talk to a lot of musicians, and I know for myself, like music, you know, it definitely helps. Like, you know, I find it therapeutic. Do you find that the creative process can be therapeutic for you as well?
I laugh because, dang, dude, that question has evolved through time because of, like, man, it depends on the project, to be honestly, man. Like, I honestly haven't even, probably like at least 3 or 4 years that I actually got to sit down in front of my gear and create something from me. It's like I've been blessed to have brief after project. So don't really have a loop, or a gap to like be just therapeutic. Everything is more like deadline based for me. So it's like the project at hand, I'm having to study on whatever it is. So whatever the briefs and the references go, that's what the world I'm living in for X amount of time. And when I'm done with that, I jump to the next. So, it's like I get to the point, man, where like outside of this, we go get something to eat or something. I just want silence. Like I don't even want music, man. And my
Hmm.
daughter, she's a violinist, she's a pianist, she's a vocalist, she's like a freaking musical gift, and she's always on max level with music. So it's like I have,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So it's like you got to be careful, like stop, but you don't want her to stop. So then it's like all these things. So Yeah, man, I think it's evolved into like work for me, but I love it, man. That's the thing. It's not like, it's work, I hate it. It's like I love what I do, but I still have to have it in doses. I have to have incremental, on and off switches with music, man. So,
Yeah, it's good to
yeah,
have that separation, because
yeah,
it's like it's like a person that equivalent to someone that works from home, right? It's like there has to be some type of separation because if you work from
oh
home,
yeah,
but it's the same thing all the time, it gets monotonous. You know what I'm saying?
yes.
So
And
yeah,
our thing is sound frequencies. So frequencies are everywhere. You step away from music, you got frequencies all over the world you can't control. I just realized that, man. The other day I felt like I was sitting there, I was like, dang, I feel like Spider-Man when he first got his powers. Cause like everything at once was happening. Like I go to a
mhm.
restaurant to have a good quiet meal. We sit at the table that has like four kids, nothing against kids, but they were jumping all over the place. The music, we sat by the speaker, and I was like, dang, man, is something happening to me? Because frequencies were never a problem for me, but like just
Yeah,
recently, it's like, dang, I don't know, I'm getting overloaded, man.
yeah,
So
yeah. That's a fact, man. Like you,
maybe
you
I'm
can't
getting old.
escape it, man. Look, you can't, bro. Listen, you can't escape it, bro. I be in the car, my daughter be in the back seat, and she's 10, she about to be 11. But now
That's
it's like
all.
she's
Same,
into it. Yeah. So
same.
she be like, Daddy, turn that beat up. Let me catch that beat. And she start rapping and singing. I'm like, I'm like,
No,
all
no.
right.
Oh man, see, yeah, I
Yeah.
have the same. I have the same thing going on here, man. So I mean, we love it because especially when they're into what we do. But it's
Yeah.
like again, I just, whew, just those times, man, that I keep catching myself at those. Man, chill out. It's okay. Allow what's going on, because I just
Mhm.
get so wrapped up in what I'm doing, man. So
Yeah,
it's good.
yeah. But
All good.
we it's a blessing because we love what we do. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes, sir.
it's all good, man. I wanted to ask you this. So, you're a beast, man, musically, man. But if you
Oh,
had to name top five dead or alive producers that have influenced, who five producers be that for man, they definitely got it. They influenced me heavy.
okay. Timbaland one, because Tim. I mean, and that's a whole nother story.
Yeah,
But
we'll circle back on that because I had
yeah,
that's in the stash, but all right.
all good, man. Timbaland, of course, Pharrell. Um, gosh, because okay, Neptunes. I gotta say Neptunes.
Mm-hmm.
But then when Pharrell stepped off, I loved his stuff. And my gosh, that's hard, man, because I get Danger, of course, Danger Hands, because
Mhm,
that whole Tim Camp.
mhm,
Um, man, I gotta say Dre, of course.
mm,
Gotta get some Dre in there, and then of course, like, gosh, dude, it's hard. That last one is real hard, man.
mhm,
It's real hard because you got Jade, you got Dilla, you got, God,
mm.
dude, so much.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say Dilla because, man.
yeah,
So
yeah.
just to
Dilla.
stop, get me off the hook, man. I want off of here. It's uncomfortable. Get me off the hook. This guy said,
Yeah,
okay, yeah,
man. That's
Beethoven. Started naming composers. Don't
word,
know.
word. It's too many, man.
He
Too,
said,
too
carry on, carry on.
yeah, man. It's hard. It's like when they be asking me, my top five, artists. Like it's hard to
Yeah,
narrow it
yeah.
down to like five because it's just music is so diverse and you love different artists for different things. You
That's
know what I'm
it. That's
saying?
the problem. That's
Yeah.
that's exactly why that's a hard question for me because I just respect everybody in its lane. Me, I love people that are different, like outside the box, as they say, like those different sounds, and because we can go forward, like, man, there's so many artists out there that do that. They're producers that I don't even know the name of, or I do, but I forgot who
Mhm.
they were. But it's like those outside that stuff that just catches you right when it starts. Like, what was
Yeah.
that sound? you
Yeah.
know and so yeah, man, that's literally what I look for in any kind of music, even sounds like libraries and stuff. I always try to listen to that oddball stuff because that
Yeah.
just gets my attention.
Yeah, that's a fact, man. That's a fact, bro. And circling back, because that was a question I had for you. Like, I know that you've worked with Timbaland. Can you describe how that connection actually happened and the dynamic stuff you guys have done together?
Yeah, man. Timbaland, of course, has always been like, man, my guy Angel Lopez. He works with Tim a lot. He's earned his own right now, but it's like we both started out, man. When probably when we met almost like 17 years ago, we used to like sit on the phone like little kids, man, listening and dissecting Tim's work. The time he was doing shock value and stuff like that. So it's like we would just dissect his work and stuff. And of course, it's like, man, I've just always felt that, again, the difference and the everything, man, the way he uses sound and the way he just took what was there, but just replaced the sound elements, the sound selections, and it created, putting the baby in and Aaliyah's, so when that happened, he's always been a major interest. Then I had this idea to be a composer. Never took, I never went for music theory, never took formal taught anything. So I went on this quest of like locking myself up and teaching myself orchestration for like 2 years straight. I would like read books, everything. I would even sneak in the top floor of our symphonic hall at the university I was in on my lunch or any kind of breaks to watch the symphony. And I would watch the way the conductor speaks and the way the violin ones, violin two, the violas, and just watch the communication, man. So you'll get why I'm saying this. You're like, dude, this is way off topic, but check it out. Hear me out.
It's all good.
I got to the point where I was thinking, all right, man, this is just that craziness of me. I was like, what can I do? I was like, all right, I want to get to Hans Zimmer. That's where I want to go because I want a film score. So I was like, all right, who do I know? Nobody. Cool. All right, I know Pharrell's best friend was Hans Zimmer. So it's like, man, if I could just get to Pharrell, and then I'm like, Timbaland knows Pharrell, and I've always wanted to reach out to Timbaland. So with all that said, I tell Angel my plan, and Angel's like, bro, I've been submitting beats to Tim, bro. I'm gonna give you his email. Don't tell him I gave it to you. I'm like, man, that's the universe. I spoke it into existence. So I hit up the email. And dude, like 2 days, not even a day, I get a reply back. He's like, yo, I think this can work. And he said, what's your number? I was like, this is not Timbaland, man. The email doesn't match up. So then, dude, 4:00 in the morning, he hits me up February 15th, because those days you don't forget. 2000, oh shit, I forgot the date. 2015, he hits me up and he's like, yo, it's Tim. As soon as I heard his voice, it was over, man. I knew it was Tim. So then we ended up speaking about 2 hours on the phone, man, just kind of going over everything in life, man, music and journey and, how much I, of course, like everybody else, fanboying, like, man. But the thing is, I don't fan over people, celebrities and stuff. Like I said, that going back to the fact that I see all of us as equals. Somebody's just been doing it so long that they've hierarchies, but I don't look at people, oh, he's more status than I don't see that, man. So I think that I went off the boat and like talked to Tim that way. He's like, yo, man, I get it, man. I hear what you're saying. Like us just being humans. And I just made it clear, man, I don't need nothing from you, Tim. Like, I just want a relationship with you. Like, I want to get, how can I help you opposed to me using your name to help myself? I wanted that very clear. And to this day, I have that with Timbaland. Like, I don't want to use Tim for anything, man, other than help his vision if I can. That's kind of like the same thing that we did when we got on this, before you got me on this, man. I just try to be genuine with people, man. Not try to be, I am genuine with people. So that developed into something so cool, man. He, anytime I needed something, hell, Tim, I'm kind of stuck. Oh, my bad.
No, you good.
That was that talking with my hands.
Wait, Gil, I gotta tell you, bro, that's fire as well. Who drew that, man? That's a dope picture.
Oh, man, that right there.
That's dope.
I put the picture with when I went to the Hip Factory, I had a picture of me in there, but I didn't like my goofy smile, so I replaced him with that. I think for that, man, it was like a royalty free thing. I paid some dude. He came up to me like he does animations and stuff, and I think it was like a Rick and Morty type thing. So I paid him like $100, man, and he sketched it, gave it back to me, gave me the vectors and all that stuff. So yeah, man, I thought it was cool. And I started,
man, look dope.
Thanks,
man, look dope. Yeah.
Okay, so after that, we talked, and I would just call him when I kind of felt like I was getting stuck on things, and we were supposed to meet a few times, but long story short, he hooked me up with Gary Morella, his manager. So they brought me into Mono Music, like in 2018, I believe, at this point. So from there, man, I've just been under that umbrella. So I still do I still focus on, Gilde Flores, and I'm always like Beat Club, their family, man. So anytime they need something, they'll, hit me up. Hey, Gil, can you get on this project with us? And so I jump back and forth between myself, my lane, and Beat Club and things of that nature. So I've been focusing more on the composition, like the visual media, what we do, sync, scoring and stuff like that, man. So that's my family on that side, but this is what I do on this side. So that's why there's two
Dope.
worlds, and I don't really, you know what I mean. So like I try to keep Gilde Flores music what it is, and but I still do everything with that umbrella, man. So it's a good
That's fire.
situation, dude. It's an amazing
That's
situation.
fire, man. Yeah, that's fire, man. And the fact that you can just do so much, and I like that how, like you said, you immersed yourself like in the orchestra, just daring to try something different because, I tell people all the time, you got to get uncomfortable being comfortable. Like your comfort zone will kill you every time. So,
Oh,
if you're doing something for
yeah.
so long, sometimes you got to grow, you got to try different things and you'll be amazed at the results that you'll get, So, I mean, that's a major key right there, man. Yeah.
Thank you, man. I think, and dude, real quick on that, I think the reason I've always loved film score, like since I was a kid, that's what I had listening to from like high school, junior high, all the way up until today. I would always listen to film scores. And when I started doing this film score was about 2012 is when I started. No, yeah, 2012 is when I really thought, man, I'd love to do that. You know what I mean? So I got into sync and stuff like that. And then it was about 2017 that I really thought, because I heard a freaking interview with Danny Elfman, and I heard that he said he didn't know music notation, he didn't write on paper, so he didn't know notes. He knew how to play. He's like, without a keyboard, I can't do music. When I heard that, it caught my attention because that's like, that's what I am. I never went towards orchestral and all that stuff because I wasn't taught. So I had limited myself my entire life. I had limited myself just because I thought I needed to be trained. And when I found that out, man, that unleashed me. So I went and like locked myself up and taught myself orchestration and stuff like that. All that to say, we limit ourselves a lot as creatives, man. Just because if you want to do something, and you're like, I would love to do that. That is a gift. That's supposed to. Sorry, I keep bumping everything. God, I'm like a damn.
Oh, look, it's real. It's raw. We need that.
So yeah. So dude, I'm a fidgety guy, man. So anyway, it's like So when I realized, man, it's like, damn, I could have been doing what I wanted to do from the beginning, at the very beginning of my career, but because I limited myself, you have to always unfold and like stop. Ooh, I got a package. So you got. He said, I gotta go. Hold on.
Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon. I know that ring. So yeah, man. So it's like one of those things that I always try to tell friends or anybody, man. Like, if you want something, check it out, unravel it, and I guarantee you can have it. It's just you like. When I hear somebody, well, I would love to do that. Why are you not doing it? Oh, I don't know how. That's exactly why you're not doing it.
That's a fact.
How are you gonna fix that? I don't know. I need to go. No, you don't need to go to school. Look what I'm doing. Look at all the stuff, man. Working on the Wolverine. That was a dream of mine, but it could have been sooner, but I held it back because I thought I didn't know how to score. I needed to learn how to do, work with an orchestra, but none of that. It's all MIDI. There's people in places, man. There's an orchestrator. I give my work to an orchestrator. He or she is the person to make sure that I don't kill anybody in the orchestra by playing too high or too low. So there's people in places that make that complete the whole puzzle, man. So when you have that mindset of just know that you don't have to do things alone. If you have something, look into it. I guarantee you can have it. So
that's a major key. Yeah, taking action. That's a major key. Man. I had another question for you. As far as like mantra, like what is your mantra? Like I got two. Mine's is persistence wears down resistance. So no matter what happens, you just gotta keep at it, pursuing your dreams. If you hang around the basket long enough, you get a rebound. And collaboration is greater than competition. Like I love that, building with like-minded people. So if you had to, in your own words, say a mantra, it doesn't have to rhyme necessarily, but just something that keeps you going. You know what I mean? Like what is something throughout the years that's kept you on point and focus?
I just say I only have one, man. It's just gratitude is attitude. Like, or the attitude is gratitude, or they work both ways for me because it's literally what being again that I've been to the homeless route. I've been, mooching, living off whatever I could do. I wasn't not to put down homeless people, but I wasn't nasty homeless, man. I was like, I would go to Granny's to take a shower every morning, She always knew something was up. You know, I made some choices in my life that I put myself in a situation where I had to get in or out. Like, you know, it's like not going into too much detail. Even as a kid, it's like I wanted to be rebellious at a point where I wasn't happy what was happening under the roof. So I made the executive decision for my dumb self to not be there any long. So, but it's
Gil,
cool.
now Gil, let me ask you something. So what, because I know that you said your mom had like the substance abuse. Did that
Yeah.
play a part in you wanting to just be out? Like, I didn't want to deal with this. Like, was that
Oh,
a
no, no,
factor?
no. That happened because my mom, we lived in Lubbock, I mean, Hereford, Texas. Mom, I
Okay.
was living with mom at the time, and her and my dad split when I was 5. So my stepdad got a better career opportunity to move to a town about 2 hours away. So I was in high school, like just starting high school. So of course I was always been that quiet, weird kid. Not that it would eat the mashed potatoes mixed with Jello, but the other weird kids, you know what I'm talking about. So I was,
All right, like what he eating over there?
yeah, yeah. No, I have to make it clear, man. I don't want people to see me and feel like, ooh, you see mashed potatoes. No, man. I was that kid that was just kind of in his own world,
Mhm.
playing with ships and like things on my desk. These were rockets, and I was that weird kid, man. Always in his own world, you know, just again trying to make my due. But at the time, it was like, you know, my parents going through the split. I was in and out of different places. Like my mom and I would move a lot. You know, she had her things, and it's like she always had us in different places, trying to do the best life for herself and for us. It was my sister, myself, and her. Whenever the time came that she had to leave Hereford, I didn't want to go, man. It was like, man, I just worked my entire life to build friends and to build this sense of who I am. People knew me. I was starting to get, I only became, you know, one of the popular kids because of music. I started playing with the local group there in my high school time that was, they were all like a Latin group, man. And I didn't even speak Spanish. But to me, it was a way to express my music. They brought me on as a guitarist. So our manager was Selena Quintanilla, the Selena that passed away, the Tejano singer. She was our
Oh wow.
manager. Yeah, she was our manager. So can you imagine being a kid and just getting into high school, touring the United States, playing guitar? So to me, that was like,
Wow. Selena was your manager?
yeah, man. She was
Wow.
our, she was.
Wow.
I was just a kid again, but it's like I had the opportunity to pursue this music thing, get paid, and be in high school. You know, so it's
Wow.
like when my mom had to make the decision to leave, I had to make the decision to go stay with my dad. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So when I did that move, it's just I had already developed into this sense of, you know, machismo, this other. So wasn't happy with the rules that I had to partake in. You know, it was a different lifestyle, different upbringings and things like that. So instead of like knocking heads too much, I decided to just, you know, because of course I was touring the United States. I had this sense of, you know, I can take care of myself.
Yeah, yeah.
And I go out, man, you know, and just kind of go out of the house, and then I living out of my car at that point, you know, trying to push school, trying to push this career with music, trying to have, you know, have a full-time job too, because the musicians don't get a lot of money when it comes to like, you know, it's just a hierarchy, man.
Yeah.
So me being young, I didn't have to get paid like everybody else, you know, things like that. Not putting people down, but it's like whatever, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like a job, you start off you know, minimum wage, you work your way up. A lot of that
Mm-hmm.
stuff is it carries over in a lot of different entities, man, or
Yeah.
areas. So with that said, it's like I learned, you know, that man, I wanted to be different, stuff like that. So I put myself through that. So mom was definitely a part of it in the sense that she left and I had to like live somewhere else. So it ended up that I had missed too many days of school. I wasn't gonna be able to graduate my senior year, so I had to quit the band in order to maintain my school, my
Mm.
education. It was literally the principal pulling me in his office and say, "Look, if you miss one more day, you can't graduate." I
Mm.
was like, "Oh, dang, I got to get out of here. I got to be done with school." So
Yeah.
I told the band I can't do it anymore. We were literally about to board the next day to go to Colorado, I think, or something like that. But so I quit, man. I quit the band and
Wow.
stayed homeless and working at a freaking working in the produce section at a grocery store. You know, just
Wow.
jumping jobs like crazy because of music. My entire work life, if you were to see my resume back then, hired, quit. Why are you quitting so much? Like, man, I don't know. I'm just trying to make do. because I'm trying to be on stage and y'all are making me work. That's why. Like, come on, duh. But yeah,
Yeah,
that doesn't work. It's like it
yeah.
doesn't work in the real world. And it got to the point where I had quit so many jobs I couldn't even get a job anymore, man. It was
Mhm.
like, dang. Yeah, we could sit here for days talking about all that stuff, man.
Nah,
But
but you know what? But that's real. That's real.
life, yeah,
Major,
man.
because you know what? It's like everybody grows up in a household, and it's like it's textbook what
Oh yeah.
children are told, right? It say, hey, get a good job, get a city job, get a state job, get good benefits, right?
Oh
Because
man.
this is what we're programmed because that's
Thank you.
labeled as safe, and it's
Yep.
safe until you get laid off, or it's safe until the bosses don't like you no more. It's safe until, there's nepotism, there's
Anything.
politics, so, what you realize is that ultimately, like, true happiness is, of course, you gotta be stable, right? But true happiness is also within that finding something that you're happy doing and you're content. Because, like you said earlier, you don't feel like you're working because you love it,
Yeah.
So, what good is making 250K a year if you're miserable, you hate your job,
Oh man.
you hate the commute every day, you hate wearing the stupid tie and the hard bottom shoes, and like, and
I've been
you
there.
just yeah, you're miserable, you're rushing for a 30-minute lunch break, scarfing down some food you don't want,
Oh
like,
my
I
gosh,
mean,
man.
you
I'm like,
know.
stop, man, stop. I'm getting flashbacks and twitches. Like, what are you doing to me? No, man, that's it. But that's going back to all seriousness, man, and not putting down social society or anything like that. But it's crazy. It's crazy that you learn how much control you are giving to other things, other elements, other than taking it. You think
Mhm,
God put us on this earth to be ants, to build the pyramids, to
mhm,
for somebody else? Is
mhm,
somebody else's control? If you're not working for yourself, you're working for somebody else. All
mhm,
those things are legit, man. Like I got comfortable in the car business. I got comfortable because I was making a pretty good amount of money. And
mhm,
at that moment, I felt like I was all right. I'm getting out of that, the murkness that I put myself in. Of
mhm,
course, but it was back then. I didn't see it like that. I thought like life sucks.
mhm,
Life is everything else you want to imply.
mhm,
That's how I lived. So with that mindset, that lackness, and again, always speaking in disaster into my life. I remember one day I got home. I mean, what the heck? That's sad. I even called work home back then. One
mhm.
day I got it, my manager left and they were trying to get me to be the manager. I was like, no way. So what I did is I had to hold down our parts station until they found a manager. So literally it was me and a warehouse guy working. Warehouse guy was an older guy, so it was just me up front. So with that said, man, I was working like crazy, man, making sure numbers were coming and all that stuff. I remember one particular day, I my car wouldn't start and it was blowing white smoke because I cracked the head on the way to work.
Man.
Okay, so I get to work. It gets way better. I get to work. Open my check. The check comes. Open it, and I look and I'm negative $2,000. Like they paid me $20, meaning I was supposed to have gotten 2,000 right for them 2 weeks. So, whoa, what the hell's going on? So I go and find out that they took out of my check because the inventory was off in the parts department 2 years before I even worked there. They were taking it out of my check. Okay,
Wow.
I'm trying to deal with that, deal with phone calls coming in, and then I get a phone call from my mom from myself. She never calls me at work. She always texts me. Pick up the phone. My nephew committed suicide.
Mm.
Like back to back, man. All of that, and that broke me as a human.
Mhm,
And it's like, man, it's crazy. It's just that how crazy we're so built like into society of just being on autopilot and
mhm,
allowing life to happen to us, man. And it's
mhm,
like those things that you have to take control of, and that's where my thing is accountability.
mhm,
Stop blaming because you had a bad upbringing, because you were raised by alcoholics or you were abusive people. People live and they move forward in life with that programming, and they
mhm,
live their entire life programmed to somebody else's program that they allowed to happen to them. And
mhm,
when you take accountability, you take accountable to the fact when you finally realize at this very point, sure I was beat, sure I was this, whatever, fill the narrative, but what are you going to do? Like,
mhm,
are you going to allow that to dictate where you are today? Are you
mhm,
going to hold those people accountable, or are you going to hold yourself accountable? When you really realize you hold yourself accountable, Sure, I may have not done that to myself, but I allowed that to define me.
Mm-hmm.
Then at that moment, that you take accountability, man, your life will change 100%. Not immediately, but that's when you really give to God. Because then you stop taking blame you stop taking the blame like it's their fault, it's his fault. I'm like this because of you. I'm poor because of my parents. Like, you change the narrative. You realize you got control. You take the control and you take the first step forward. You apply that with life. You apply that with music, with your career. If you're not where you are, where you want to be, you want to be the next Timbaland, you want to be at that level, understand that it's going to take growth. There ain't no magic button right here that I got that's going to get me the next HBO series.
Mm-hmm.
But what it did do was gave me the ability to for growth. Now I have a reason to reach out to that person that wouldn't take my email 10 years ago. Now they're going to take my email.
Mm-hmm.
But if I would have allowed and said it's not fair, get on Instagram, these guys are winning. Oh man, these guys, that sucks, man. I'm better than them.
Mm-hmm.
That's your problem.
Mm-hmm.
Ego is the thing that's going to keep you stagnated, and stagnation is the thing that's going to end your career before it even begins. So, yeah, man, I'm an advocate. If you look at me talking about anywhere, it's I defeated my ego first, and that was within me. Once I beat the ego, I'm no longer in any competition with anybody, man. Nobody. Even if I were to put out a package, I can get your music on film and TV right now for the low cost of. I ain't trying to compete with people. I ain't trying to do I'm not trying to get on trends to do anything to get people that watch your stuff. I'm not saying come all over here. I've noticed that there's a lot of competitiveness. It's like, bro, we're all in this. Let's just show people how to live. Like, whatever success is defined by you. Like all the success I've had was because I defined it. I defined success as being content in life, and when I was content in life, all of this stuff started happening, man. On just the byproduct of it, man.
That's
So you'll never hear me say I'm a badass and ooh yeah this and I'm the next level. Like, no, dude. I'll never allow that. Right when I feel like I'm getting good at something, I knock my ass off the stool and I got to learn something else. I'm getting
that's a major key. And we got a saying in my camp. We say humble's the new cocky. So, just always a reminder to be humble. You don't have to big yourself up, man. You got other people. You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
So,
man.
yeah, that's major key, man. Major key. So one thing I want to talk about, Gil, and this is dope because a lot of musicians, they've been asking us like, in terms of like what's next. So we do have the Sound of Success coming up, where we're going to use that platform to really help educate artists how to get their music in TV and film, from a lot of the GOATs in this culture, whether it be music supervisors, music producers, sync agents, and of course you'll be one of the people on the panel. So, we just looking forward to that, man. Looking forward to having you. And I know a lot of people, they probably got questions about how can they reach out to you or what's next for you. So if someone wants to just holler at you, shout you out, give you props, they love your work, like how can they reach out to you, like on social media or whatever?
I think Instagram is where I live when I do live on social media. I've been the worst, man, at getting back to people. You saw even us coordinating this. It took me a bit because, man, again, I'm all over the place and I've been working on projects that I'm training myself to be better with social media. I'm the type that I get on, post something because the directors, and I will say this, directors, music supervisors, the people that are gonna, there I go with that. Let me scoop back.
Though. It's dope. It come in and out.
Yeah. Like. Back to you. Oh no, man. But it's so I think the thing is, man, you got to I'm trying to find balance. So you can reach out to me on social media. I have an email I think on there, man, but it's like just be patient with me because I'm learning how to, like that Peter Parker's becoming Spider-Man. I'm learning how to be able to be more, omnipresent, like here on social media, answering emails, because I've been so business-minded. I just opened up my own production company. So like meeting with business managers and all the other stuff that I got going on, man, I'm all over the place. I post something and jump off.
Yeah.
And I look back and I have all these unanswered comments and I feel bad. Weeks later, hey, thank you. Like, I'm the worst at social media. So yeah, they can still reach out. I'm getting better at it, and man, I'd love to be any help I can.
Yeah, man, listen, I know the feeling, bro, because now we have a marketing manager for our company. So like, a big shout out to Dominic, huge shout out to Dominic. Like he handles all of that social stuff for us. So, every now and then, like I'll hop on the same way like you, and I'll respond, I'll send some messages directly, but it's like it gets so crazy and it gets so flooded. It's just hard. So, I just tell, a lot of artists a lot of times, like the big thing, like you said, just check ego at the door. Don't take things personal because, what I realize is that we're all human beings. Life happens, business happens. And sometimes, it's okay to, maybe 2, even 3 weeks later, you send like a friendly follow-up reminder.
Yeah.
Like, hey, just checking in with you, because sometimes people take it personal. They're like, oh, you think you're better than me. It's like, whoa, dude,
yes.
it ain't that, bro. It's like, I just like literally like 80 emails in 1 week. Like I'm trying to my people sifting through that, then they get it to me. So yeah, it's a process, man.
And I think that's a good thing to let anyone and everyone listening know. If you're just getting into this and you're trying to get yourself where you're going, aside from all the skills that you're learning on a personal level of getting your music where it needs to be, I think it always remember that we're again, I keep saying this, but humans, man. The people you're reaching out to are humans before their whatever role it is, music supervisor. They have a million things going on just like we do, but even more sometimes because then they're working active projects down the pipeline. Some of them are responsible for other interns and whatever else. Then they got their home life, then they got all these things going on for them. When you send an email, no matter how good your music is in the link, just because they haven't gotten back to you, like I'm just getting into another division of Warner Chappell, and I've been working with this one person, 3 months and it's been increments. Hey man, love your stuff. Do you have any of this? Send it. Don't hear frack for like 3 weeks. Hey man, sorry, I just got to it. Kid, let me, dude, this is awesome. Can you do this? 3 weeks. Wow, man, sorry about that. And I'm like, dude, don't apologize to me. Like, you have no reason to apologize. Like, I want to get with you guys, but I get it. You got everything that I've got going on. It takes time, and it's some of us aren't built to be. I wish I had an assistant because it's like I could use them to take care of all the other stuff that I'm busy myself in to free me up. So.
Well, we'll chop it up about that because
that's what I'm saying.
I could plug you in to help you out with that.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
So point being, understand we're humans. Whoever you reach out to, give them a chance. Give them a chance to get caught up and get back to you, and just keep moving. Don't wait. Why are you waiting for people? Don't wait for a response. Move forward. Like stop. Thing is just stop waiting. Understand they're humans. And go on about your business. They'll get to you on time. So
that's it, man.
That was hard for me to learn.
Yeah, because you know what it is. I'll tell you something. It's like coming in, as musicians, like early on, like you're passionate about your music, you take it very serious, very personal. So, it takes some adjusting to put on. It's like, the art of sending an email, it's that within itself, right? Like you have to take off that's an art, right? The same way someone can craft a beat or, rap or sing, being able to send an efficient email that doesn't give too much, but doesn't give too little and is straight to the point. That's a craft. So you got to take off your artist hat. Now you put on your businessman, your businesswoman hat to craft that, So yeah, just being professional, being patient, like that's a skill that I think every artist could utilize. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, man. That's one thing. There's so many stuff. There's a big empty bag when you want to become a producer, composer. It's like you get your gift, you get your tools, your gift, and then you get this big old empty bag that you got to learn how to start filling with tools and things. And then, just on top of that, again, just we're all in it. We're all in it. I hate that whole we're all in it together. But seriously, person you're reaching out to is a human being. They're not a robot. They have their own reasons, and so you just got to be cool. Just be chill and just don't wait around. Don't wait for anybody. Even me with management, I can't even tell you the last time I hit them up for anything. Like having management, having this, I'm weird, man. I chose to take what I do to build myself. Everything, majority, I'd say about 90% of the stuff you see on my IMDb, that whole list was me sending those in, not depending on management.
Wow.
I rarely have to tap my manager for anything other than, yo, man, do you think, can you get me in touch with this person? Because I just, blah, blah, blah. But I don't depend on people, man. Even I don't utilize people maybe the way I should.
Mhm.
But yeah, I stick to my own lane because at the end of the day, when all that comes said and done, I want to feel like I did this because of my drive. Like I want to sit back and realize I didn't wait for people. I didn't expect people to do this for me. And it's just ownership, man. It's that sense of you can't take nothing away from me because I built it myself.
Facts,
You know,
facts,
it's just
facts.
utilizing your circle for the best ability to always be comfortable where you are and knowing that you earned it for yourself. So,
Yeah,
yeah, man.
that's solid, man. That's solid, man. Major key. Well, you know, we appreciate you coming on, Gil, man. You dropped a
Yeah.
lot of gems, man. We call it the jury store. You're dropping the gems. You know
Dude,
what I'm
yeah, I
saying?
love it, man. I love being here,
Yeah,
dude. Trust me.
yeah, it was fire, man. So, you know, so the shout out to all the listeners once again, man. Love y'all for tapping in. Tap in with Gil, man. You know what it is, man. Tap in with us. Sound of Success coming soon. Until then, peace.